Joe Biden began his presidency with a bold call for unity. That was much needed rhetoric, given the division in American society. As of January 2021, 79% of Americans agree America is falling apart. Unfortunately, President Biden's actions have in no way matched his rhetoric. He's not just avoiding doing what's necessary to bring about unity, he's actively instituting policies to destroy the very possibility of it. On his first day in office, Biden repealed a Trump-era executive order entitled Combating Race and Sex Stereotyping, falsely calling it a harmful ban on diversity and sensitivity training. In fact, the Trump-era order banned the federal government and federal contractors from teaching that, quote, one race or sex is inherently superior to another race or sex, that an individual should be discriminated against or receive adverse treatment solely or partly because of his or her race or sex, that an individual's moral character is necessarily determined by his or her race or sex, that an individual, by virtue of his or her race or sex, bears responsibility for actions committed in the past by other members of the same race or sex, or that any individual should feel discomfort, guilt, anguish, or any other form of psychological distress on account of his or her race or sex. Why would anyone who wants to reunite America re-legalize such government-funded racism and sexism? Because the growing far left believes dissolving such categories is impossible and undesirable. In the fatalistic words of Derek Bell, the founder of critical race theory, racism is an integral, permanent, and indestructible component of this society, and thus we must move on to adopt policies based on racial realism. Unfortunately, Biden has brought that philosophy on race deeply into his administration. Biden nominated Kristen Clark to head the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice, who has written that melanin endows blacks with greater mental, physical, and spiritual abilities, and that this is the chemical basis for the cultural differences between blacks and whites. In his speech, Biden said his goal is to make the issue of racial equity not just an issue for any one department of government. It has to be the business of the whole of government. Meanwhile, Vice President Harris explained, equitable treatment means we all end up at the same place, which if actually taken to its logical conclusion would mean literal communism. There is no unity possible without a plausible conception of what unity looks like. Unity via explicit racial division and a far-left conception of equity is not a serious plan. What could bring about unity is working towards dissolution of the categories that divide us. Exactly what Martin Luther King Jr. dreamed. I'm Jay Klein. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.